Today we have a lot to talk about and discuss. We'll be covering different things such as WWE Fastlane results, Bellator 149, WrestleMania 32, the brand split possibly coming back, the Shane O'Mac and Cheese returns, Undertaker, WrestleMania 32, Deadpool hosting Saturday Night Live, petition, excuse me, and a bunch of other things as well. First thing, gotta give a shout out to our sponsors, Immortal Seats. Follow them, immortalseats.com. Follow the Immortal Seats app. Download it on your mobile device, portable device, Android, iPhone. Angry Mark, do you have a working smartphone or do you still use a flip phone?
I have a smartphone.
Right, that's good.
At least that's what it said on the cover.
Shout out to Immortal Seats, of course. Saltine, tell them about the discount code.
Yes, you can get a discount at Immortal Seats with Under the Mat in lowercase. Repeat, Under the Mat in lowercase for the code.
Yes, and you can also use it for everything. As far as WrestleMania tickets, concerts, sporting events, and everything else. Toph, how you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. Just want to give a shout-out to everybody in the Southeast. Be safe. The weather's on its period again. You know how that goes. So,
yeah, tornadoes all around. Going to start off talking first. Lil, want to give a shout-out to, of course, us being here in Baltimore. Shout out to the Baltimore Orioles. Big news today for them signing Dexter Fowler. Great free agent, used to play for the Chicago Cubs, now playing for the Baltimore Orioles, and doing big things. So shout out to the Baltimore Orioles, hometown, doing big things in the off season, going towards the pennant. You know, NFC Gameboy hates baseball, but it's all good. Got to support them. Shout out to Adam Jones as well, big wrestling fan, and lover of wrestling and MMA. That being said, going to tackle the quick topic of Bellator 149. Of course, that was on Friday. I know Angry Mark, I know me and you watched it pretty much together, so our team checked it out. The pay-per-view, good thing it was live. Even though Bellator 149 broke viewership records for Spike TV, the main event was horrible. You had a low blow by Royce Gracie against our buddy Kenny Shamrock, and the referee not calling it. You had Kimmy Bo Slice against, what's his name, Angry Mark, Dada 5000? What is that?
Doo-Doo 5000?
Yes. 5,000. Within a matter of a minute. No, guys, these are professional athletes. I'm an athlete. NFC Gameboy is a background of an athlete, so our team does. If you're winded within the first minute and 30 seconds, 90 seconds, and you barely can throw a punch, that makes you look bad. That makes the promotion look bad. It was horrible. And we're going to tackle that. Kimmy Bo Slice against his, Angry Mark calls him Doo-Doo 5000. They couldn't even throw a punch. They were sucking wind. They couldn't even stand. What was going on? Angry Mark, tell us your thoughts, and I'll go to NFC Gameboy and everybody else.
Well, I mean, you know that game Suck and Blow when you're like a kid? You know? He got Doo-Doo 5000 sucked and blew both in the same fucking match. All right? He gets in there. Okay, now I'm glad he's alive. You know, his heart stopped and all that shit. Glad he's alive, so shout out. Glad you're doing better, even though you suck as a fighter. You know, this was the biggest joke of any MMA fight in the history of MMA fighting. You had two fighters who were completely blown, okay? To people who are listening, that means they're out of wind, they're gassed, out of shape.
Wind, gas.
Yep. And they were done a minute into the match. I mean, I think Doo-Doo would have won it if he just leaned on Kimbo for another minute. You know, Kimbo would have fell over. You know,
he just would have breathed on him.
It was just, to watch that fight, Bellator got great ratings. Congratulations. You just made yourself the biggest embarrassment in all of mixed martial arts. So, great job. You guys completely blew it. Now it's time for, something else to happen more positive, like thank God for UFC.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dada, watching him throw a punch was like watching the wind blow on a flag. He just, it could change all the time. His arms were his arms were just floppy.
His eyes were glassy.
But if you probably put a Big Mac hanging from a pole, I bet you he would have kicked ass.
Shout out to Russo. Pole match.
This was all hype and no fight. So.
Okay. With that, real quick, I'm gonna interject and ask this question, and then we'll go to NC Game when everybody thoughts. As bad as Dada 5000 and Kimbo was it as bad as Goldberg and Brock at WrestleMania 20?
Oh God, at least Goldberg and Brock could bump. Okay, Dada couldn't even fall right. Okay, did you watch this guy? It was like watching somebody who was drunker than me just stumble. I was waiting for JR to come on and say, stumbling, bumbling. Oh, he fell over. I mean, he couldn't even fall straight. That's how bad he was.
His head was like on one side, his neck was on the other. Like, what are you? NC Gameboy.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts.
NC Gameboy, your thoughts on Dudu 5000?
Yeah, I'm here.
Kimby Bo.
I didn't see the actual fight. I watched the replay that was blasted on Facebook. Just to give you all a little bit of background about myself, I actually grew up in martial arts. I actually been in martial arts tournaments. Some I've actually won, some I've lost. That was the most complete, utter embarrassment that you could ever say, to call that a professional mixed martial arts fight. They both looked it very winded. They both looked it very tired. They both didn't have their skills together. Their mind was just out of the fight. It looked like a video game. And what I think it really hurt the most was that the fans really thought that this was going to be the next big thing, a competition to UFC. There can't even be competition to a regular boxing match, let alone UFC. It was just utter disgusting. I also want to send my love out to whatever his name, 5000, for I did hear that, he had heart problems and everything. But that's no excuse. You're calling yourself a professional. You're calling yourself a professional. You step into the octagon. You step into the cage. You're supposed to carry yourself like a warrior, like a fighter, like with anything. And it was tactful to the extent that we thought it was going to be something, and it just wasn't. To end my thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tack.
No, go ahead. End your thought.
To end my thought, I just want to say that to all the people, I'm glad that they got this for free. I'm glad that they put it on a Friday night where most people wouldn't even been home to watch it. And I'm also glad that Dana White is probably sitting up there laughing his ass off, because I'm a big fan of UFC. And I'm a big fan of great fighters, and I'm a big fan of actual real competition. I'm not a fan of Kimbo Slice. I respect what he's done, but I don't think that he's a fighter. You know what I mean? I don't really respect the way he has to do things. He's a street fighter, which is okay in the streets. But it's just, once again, to show that this is a professional sport. You carry yourself like a professional. And if you don't, you'll get knocked out like a professional. Luckily, his opponent knocked himself out, so he didn't have to worry about it this time. But his next opponent, if they have another opponent, he might not be so lucky.
Oh, he will.
So that's my thoughts on it.
Was the match as bad as Shawn Michaels versus RVD on Raw?
Well, here's the thing. When you're talking about professional wrestling, that's predetermined endings. So we already know that they know that one of them is going to win. They just got to carry the match. These guys right here were supposed to carry a match, and I seen a better fight off my son and my godson, and they 6, 7 years old on the ground wrestling and fighting each other than that mess.
Shout out to GB3. He can throw one right hand.
Yes.
Now we got a caller bringing in area code 281. Welcome to Under the Mat Radio.
How you guys doing? Nicholas from Houston. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Thanks. Just wanted to kind of chime in on this Dada 5000 Kimbo match.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
And all the reports coming in about Dada 5000, his body was shutting down in the match because of his nutrition. And so the MMA fighters have to pass physicals, before stepping into the octagon. So you guys think that maybe this match should not have happened? Because I think it was just a minute into the match, both of the fighters were just completely winded. And,
well, I can chime in on that. I have a little background in getting people tested, and here's what I can tell you. Due to the fact that Dudu 5000 had to drop 30-some pounds, on his last test, they should have tested his potassium levels. Okay? The potassium levels would have shown too high and at risk for a heart attack. So they failed to do a final blood analysis within 30 days of the fight. If they would have done it, they would have seen the potassium levels were too high. They would have put him on medication. They would have gave it 2 weeks to correct itself, and if it didn't correct itself, then the fight would have been off.
I see. Wow, it was just.
I can see a lawsuit coming out of this.
Yeah. In fact, I was just about to say that. I mean, it was just it was a horrendous match. But I'll keep listening in. Thanks again for taking my call. Thanks for the analysis. Appreciate it.
No problem, Nick. Thanks, man. Keep listening.
No problem, man.
Sure.
Call back if you want to chime in the other topics too. Keep listening.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Shout out to Nick from Texas. Shout out to
we'll be in Texas next month.
Yes.
For Wrestlemania 32.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Time to shake things up again.
Yeah.
Now, the Dada match. First of all, what does anybody know? Tove Saltine, tell me out here. What does the 5,000 mean in Dada? Is it his power levels? What is it?
It should have been it should have been negative 5,000 because that's how much weak he was. I mean, he didn't even have no freaking stamina in that damn match. It's like you're supposed to be on the damn treadmill or running to get your stamina up, and he just built muscle. That's all he was doing. Really, he was too big in a way. He should at least lose more weight, and he would have moved faster, and he could have beat Kimbo. He had him tackled down, and I'm like, yo, he could have had him, but as usual, he didn't work on that stamina at all.
Did you say, is it stamina or stamina, Saltine?
Stamina. Someone say stamina on TV, so I was like, it came off like that. Stamina.
So I think the 5,000 stands for how many Doritos he eats in a day.
Shout out to MSG. MSG and Doritos. All Chinese carryouts by law had to get rid of MSG, but yet Doritos don't. Have you pondered on that? Excuse me. The match was horrible. 90 seconds to second win. They couldn't even walk for it together. If Dada just could have mustered enough strength to blow on Kimbo, just tap him with his jaw, Kimbo would have fell. Kimbo, look at this. I've been winded extreme. Training, wrestling, working out, or what have you. NXT Gameboy 2. Angry Mike, well, we know you've been winded, drinking and stuff, but that's different. It don't take you that long to be that. Kimbo was so winded. He couldn't even stand. He had to get help to put his shirt on. He couldn't even talk. He was that winded. If you notice, after the post-game fight, after the post-interview, he couldn't even walk out the cage. He had to get help. And you're a professional fighter. Just say it. This is just horrible. This is horrible. So, what's your thoughts?
I've never really been that impressed with Kimbo Slice. I'm a huge fan of Michael J. White, really underrated. I like him as an actor. He's a martial artist, and he's actually he's one of the few guys that he's okay with being underground. And he did a movie not that long ago called Blood and Bone. It's a nice kung fu flick. And Kimbo Slice was on that movie. And I got the movie on DVD, and there are some deleted scenes and, just extra stuff. And there's this particular clip I have on the extra DVD where Michael J. White is giving Kimbo Slice some advice on how to fight. And I believe the clip is on YouTube, and when I find it, I'll post it on the page. And basically it was like Michael J. White was showing Kimbo how to effectively basically outgas an opponent that is physically stronger than you. And even though Kimbo Slice was, physically more empowering than Michael J. White, he couldn't catch him because his stamina, Jay White's stamina, was too good. And it was a real, legit shoot, so it wasn't part of a movie or anything. Like, he was really showing him how to fight, and it was really interesting. And Jay White, he kicked Slice, one time, and Slice was, down. I've always thought that Slice is very, very overrated. I mean, he looks like someone you wouldn't want to run into a dark alley. But I've always said, it doesn't matter how big someone is. If they can't catch you, what's the point? The dude, he gasses out really, really quickly. So I've soured on him many, many years ago. So I'm quite frankly, I'm surprised he's even still relevant at this point. So I don't really have much positive to really contribute to Kimbo Slice. I wish he would just kind of disappear and not really be talked about anymore.
Can the white guy chime in on the black factor here? Is that allowed, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Here's my thing. I have a lot of friends who are black. I have people that helped raise me as a child who are black. So this is what I got to say. These guys being hyped as black street fighters, okay? Both of them, okay? You got the Doo-Doo and the Kimbo, who is more like the Bimbo now, okay? And these guys were all hyped because of their street fighting, blah, 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 all right? And doing this shit out on the streets. I'm sorry. Showing that documentary and promoting Kimbo as this badass street fighter is not something that needs to be shown to the youth today. Okay? This is not a role model you are showing. You are showing a convicted felon, a known street fighter, and you're promoting these people like they're great people. Now, don't get me wrong. Kimbo could be the nicest guy at his home. Great dad, whatever. But do not promote to the youth of today people like Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000. Especially when the motherfuckers couldn't even go in the ring, as it was witnessed at Bellator. Thank God it was free on Spike TV. Because anybody who would have paid for that shit, oh my God. I wouldn't have been winded. Because I would have found the fucking people that run Bellator. I would have fucking showed up on their door, and I would have said, motherfucker, give me a refund right now, or I'll kick your ass. But that's what I have to say. I don't approve of the marketing behind these guys and promoting the street fighting, showing that documentary, all the clips of him fighting people illegally. Depending on the statute of limitations, I'd like to see Kimbo Slice get arrested. I think we need to set an example for the kids today and not promote it. Do it right. Do it through training, and do it through somebody who is bonded and licensed to do MMA fights. Do not do it in the backyard.
Well, a lot of people feel it was a work. And those listening may not be hip to wrestling terms or business terms. A work meaning that it was a setup. It was a legit fight. You got Kimmy Bo went against Kenny Sham, a good old buddy Ken Shamrock, in that fight, which I feel was a work. Because how in the world does Ken Shamrock have Kimbo in a rear naked choke that was legit synced in? But ironically, Shamrock loses grip lets go, and Kimbo gets up and punches him. Now you have Kimbo and Doo-Doo 5000. Match was horrible. Kimbo does and I don't even think Dada was knocked out. I just think he was too tired and so winded when he fell that he couldn't realize where he was at. Look at how he fell. Fell all awkward. It just this is sad. And like Angry Mark said, you promote these guys, they're street fighters. And, shout out to Kurt Angle. I'm not sure if y'all noticed Kurt Angle was there in attendance, and so was Mike Tyson as well. Now we go to the main event. Royce Gracie against Ken Shamrock. Oh, Kenny Sham and Royce Gracie. Of course, they promoted, these guys fought from the beginning of it was kind of like the whole end of our era thing, kind of similar to Triple H and Undertaker with Shawn Michaels, the whole Hell in a Cell build up. They started it before it was no rules, what have you. The match doesn't even go a full round. Now, note, these guys wasn't winded at all. Kenny Sham gets low blowed by the knees, legit, has a delayed reaction. Gracie punches him, match is over. Shamrock yells out, cussing or what have you, saying it was a low blow. Yes, the referee should have saw it, should have gave him enough time. But yet the match ends in controversy. And now, in an earlier match in the undercard, I can't remember who fought, there was a match that featured 4 low blows.
Yeah. Yes, there was.
Which
and a point was deducted.
Yes, and the point was deducted. And I don't mean to sound racist, but it was the two black guys that fought. I don't know their names.
It doesn't sound racist. You're black. You can say that.
Yeah, 2 black guys. One was from the UK, the other one was American. 4 low blows. Now, who would have thought an MMA fight has more low blows than a professional wrestling pay-per-view?
I don't know, but there was more low blows in Bellator than there is on a porn.
Yeah, true. So, guys, what are your thoughts? Do you feel that Ken Shamrock got screwed over by the refs? Do y'all feel that Gracie low blow was legit? Or do you think it was an honest mistake? NFC Gameboy. NFC, you there? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is kind of difficult because we've had Ken Shamrock on the show. He's a friend of ours, and when he was on here, he talked about how he enjoyed the older days back when the UFC barely had any rules. And it's like now when we see him in matches and stuff, a lot of times I think that he's past his prime, way past his prime. I think he has the heart of fighting, but I think that the skills are starting to diminish when it comes against another professional fighter. And secondly, if you are used to something and you have to change that format, and you've been doing it for 20, 30 plus years, you're not going to adapt to it well. The low blow from what I seen, looked like it was a mistake. I don't think it was intentionally. I think that he put too much into the referee. It was kind of like that thing that happened with Mayweather that one time. Mayweather was boxing that guy, and the guy kept complaining, and Mayweather was sitting there, and the guy kept complaining, Mayweather was sitting there, and then Mayweather just knocked him out. It was like, you should have been paying attention. It's kind of like one of those things. Like, he put too much into the low blow instead of just concentrating on the match. Now, granted, low blow hurts. We all men, if men that's listening, women that's listening, yes, we all know men, low blow hurts. But nonetheless, you're a professional fighter. One thing you learn, the first rule of fighting, never take your eyes off your opponent. It's the first rule of fighting. I don't care what martial arts you grew up in. I don't care what boxing ring you grew up in. I don't care if you, even in the streets, the first rule of fighting, never take your eyes off your opponent. So, pretty much he got what he deserved. I hate to say it, I'm still a fan of Ken Shamrock. I will always love the guy for what his work and what he stood by and everything, and I told him before on the show, but I think Ken Shamrock needs to leave his legacy alone. I think that he's done what he's done. He needs to really just walk away from it. Do something else, teach a class or something. But, the more L's he keeps taking, the more he's destroying and tarnishing his legacy. And it really hurts to see that, but it's just the way things is looking right now.
And just on the side note, guys, we talked about this last week. does a promotion. I think it's called UR Fight that had the Rey Mysterio Kurt Angle match, and also in that match is another good buddy of ours who's a former guest, Dan to be 70 is going against Kenny Sham, and big things looking to think Ken Shamrock is going to lose. Sorry, Ken.
Hey,
Things about that time. They Ken Shamrock, do your day there. So your retirement and teach the young 4 kids of the world and the adolescents how to fight. Angry Mark and Toph, your thoughts real quick on the Shamrock Royce fight.
Good, Toph.
No thoughts. I don't really follow UFC.
So, Tank?
Well, first rule of Fight Club,
Mike.
Guard your junk. All right? First rule of Fight Club. I mean, Shamrock got kicked in the Shamrocks. I think it was a straight-up unintentional groin shot that did cause Shamrock to go down. The ref missed it all night. There were other, groin shots going on, but this one was missed. The ref was out of position, but I'm not going to put the ref down for it because you can't beat in every spot every time. I think Shamrock, the Kimbo Slice fight, this fight, I think his legacy is getting tarnished. He might be the world's most dangerous grandfather, but he's not the world's dangerous man. I think it's time to hang him up, be an analyst, and stop getting hit in the fucking head. He looks rough. He does.
Yeah.
I mean,
best days are behind, buddy.
100%. Best days are far, far behind. So,
shout out to MD Nice. Is one of his sayings said, if you just was 10 years younger, Ken, pretty sure the fight would have been a little better. Moving on past Bellator 149. That's all done and gone. To the elephant in the room. There, Toph, you got me saying that. Monday Night Raw. Now, Angry Mark, you and I on our show, Wrestling Black and White, we've talked about this maybe ad nauseum on this show, on our show, on this show for the past couple of months about how it would be great for Shane McMahon to come in. We talked about this for the past, 6 weeks on Wrestling Black and White and on here. Me and the Gameboy has talked about it. He on this show, even off camera. Me and Toph, me and Saltine. And I get a text, and my phone blows up at work. And the word that Shane O'Mac and Cheese shows up on Raw. And shows up. And what I have to say, even I marked out when I got home. And I haven't done that since when Brock Lesnar showed up after you seen it when Sting showed up on Raw. I haven't marked out in a while. But I definitely did for that. What a great show up, what a great air quote surprise it was for WWE. I'm going to start this off with NXT Gameboy because I know Shane O'Mac and Cheese is your favorite. Your thoughts, NXT Gameboy. Did you have tears coming down your eyes? Was your hands shaking?
I think the last time that the NXT Gameboy marked out on a wrestling event is when Sting showed up to the WWE for the first time, and I was zapping out last night. For all y'all who really don't know, NXT Gameboy is a very, very big Shane McMahon fan. Always had been since down at 98. Shane McMahon always gave quality matches, had great rivalries, always gave 110%. Sometimes you almost forgot that he was Vince McMahon's son because the way that the storylines and the way that he carried the matches, you can definitely tell that he loved the business. The storyline that I saw last night, it was kind of cryptic. Like, he was saying some things, he wasn't saying some things. Of course, Vince said fuck, I'm going to get you fucked up type, thing was pretty cool. Trying to go back to the Attitude Era for a moment. Him fighting the Undertaker is kind of bittersweet. I've never seen Shane McMahon wrestle personally in real life, so I always watched him on television. But the Undertaker, I don't know about that. I would have loved to see him face anybody else but The Undertaker, but in the Hell in a Cell. And, Shane looking old. He's getting up there, man. He got a family, got kids. Yeah, he got kids and everything, his sons and all that stuff, his wife. He's getting up there. So I know a lot of people thinking Shane's going to jump off the Titantron and Shane's going to jump off the cell and all that. I don't think so. When you get to
WrestleMania,
when you get to a certain age, man, all that jumping off stuff, yeah, you might fuck around and die.
It's WrestleMania.
Yeah, I know, but remember, Mick Foley was, in his 30s and stuff when he fell off the Hell in the Cell and everything.
I thought he was 50 then.
He was.
Who knows?
But but back to the topic. I completely marked out. We've been talking about Shane McMahon coming back to the WWE for so long, and I know somebody out there has been listening, hearing the pleas coming from us and other fans out there. What can you say? I'm glad to have him back, man. So that's my thoughts on that.
Tove?
Well, I guess now's the time where I address the awkward elephant in the room.
Yes.
So on Angry Mark and Tech show that comes on Thursday, Angry Mark was talking about he wanted to know what really happened with Shane. And I've known the story for a little bit. It was just kind of one of those things where I kept it to myself a little bit. But now there's really no reason to hide it anymore. So to any listeners out there, if you choose to not believe me, I mean, I don't really blame you. I'm just a wrestling fan. But this is the truth about what really happened with Shane. I need for everybody to, close their eyes and think back to 2009, I think it was, when they did WrestleMania 25. I've told Tech the story privately. And if you remember going into WrestleMania 25, the tag team champions, they had two tag team titles, if you recall. It was The Miz and John Morrison against Carlito and I believe his cousin, Primo.
Primo.
Yeah, they were both tag team champions of their respective brands, and it was a match that had got billed on Raw, SmackDown, and ECW, and many fans were looking forward to that match, and it was scheduled to be on the WrestleMania 25 main card. And as many people know, WrestleMania tends to have these battle royales with no meaning, just as a way to excite the crowd, dark matches. Now they've kind of turned it into this Andre the Giant battle royale deal. Well, basically, when I first got into the podcast business, when I got involved with Jay from PWP, and one of the first interviews I had was Vader, and shortly after Vader, we interviewed John Morrison, who at the time had just his contract had just expired, so he had just left WWE, so this was sometime after 2011. And basically, he told us point blank on Skype that how it goes. Now, again, this was back in 2012 when we talked to him. He said that when it comes to shows like WrestleMania, like the big shows like Mania and SummerSlam, the talent, they're told right off the get-go where they're going to be on the card. If they're going to be on the show, they tell you point blank. You see what I'm saying? And if you're not going to be on the card, if you're going to be on a dark match, or if you're just going to do promotional stuff, they just tell you. John Morrison told us that his tag match was scheduled to be the opener. That was the plan. Now, since you guys know it's WrestleMania, so they have the musical performances. If you remember correctly, I believe Mickey Rourke was there that year. Remember they did the program with Chris Jericho and against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Roddy Piper. There was some program involving the wrestler. Kid Rock did some musical performance, if you guys recall. It was the 25th anniversary, so Stone Cold came out. He did his usual beer stuff. Stuff like that eats up time for a Mania. That when you add it all up, it eats up time. So when stuff like that happens, inevitably something is going to get, shit canned. It's not going to be on the main card. It's going to be on a dark match or whatever. So because of this, because of time constraints, John Morrison told us that literally about an hour before showtime, they were pretty much told, hey, you guys aren't going to be live. So, see, what happened was that match was advertised live to be on the show. So there were many people that ordered the show to see them. And I know that may not seem like a big deal because it's like, it's just a tag team match. To those who don't remember, WrestleMania 25, that was in Texas. And, there's a very strong Hispanic following in Texas as well. So there were many people that wanted to see Carlito and Primo defend the titles, So when you have people ordering the show to see a particular match, only for you to order the pay-per-view and the match has already happened, that tends to piss people off. So Shane McMahon, who was still there at the time, because if you remember they were doing the Randy Orton IED thing, how he was crazy and he RKO'd Stephanie, if you guys remember that storyline. What basically happened was there was some type of backstage altercation between Vince, Triple H, and Shane. Shane thought that it was bad business and that the tag match should have been on the card. Triple H thought that since it was WrestleMania, that something needed to get bumped and it should be off the card. So Triple H made a decision, Shane made a decision. So when you got 1-1, you need a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker was Vince. So Vince, he had to choose who you're going to side with, your son or your son-in-law. He chose his son-in-law. And so the tag team match was booted off. And shortly after that, Shane was pretty much like, okay. He saw the writing on the wall, and if you recall, later on that year, he left WWE. And if you remember, when he left, it was very quiet. There was no storyline. There was no, backstage rumors. It just was reported that he left, and that was it. There was no storyline or anything. They didn't even acknowledge it on TV. He just left, and that was the story. So I guess Shane saw the writing on the wall that Vince, for whatever reason, seemed to prefer Triple H over Shane as far as, decisions. You see what I'm saying? So, And so Shane left, and so he left and he did his own thing, and he went to China. I'm from Georgia. They have the Masters golf tournament here every spring. Shane McMahon is a regular down here. We see him here every spring. I saw him 2 years ago. Very nice guy. He's really chill. Pretty much what Gameboy said. You keep forgetting he's a McMahon because he's just so chill. He keeps doing stuff that he doesn't have to do. So really happy to see him back. And we'll just have to see where it goes. But that's pretty much the real story about what happened to Shane. You're never going to hear anyone officially talk about this. It's just one of those deep, dark secrets, sort of. When everything that I just told you, this was after years and years of figuring it out. John Morrison himself was still not very talkative, and obviously so. You don't want to get shit-canned, because you never know, you might get the call to come back. But that's the story.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, I was happy to see Shane. Okay. He always brings that, that spunk with him, that arrogance. But he's very likable. I'm glad to see him back. We all know it's temporary. Because he is still the chairman of the board for You On Demand, for the Chinese video on demand pay-per-view service. Okay. He is still very active in the sports management company that represents multiple pro athletes. I don't know what's going to happen. According to the last stockholders call with Vince McMahon addressing things, he said there could be some changes higher up in management coming. And this was back in January. I don't know if that means Shane might be coming back in legitimately for this, but odds are, in my opinion, this is a storyline that runs through SummerSlam, and Shane is gone. Dad's off TV. Triple H will be off TV, and I don't know what's going to happen, but that's my prediction.
Now, shout out to Afro Century Queen. She mentioned something that Vince McMahon dropped the F-bomb on live TV. Did anybody catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I caught that. I spoke on it.
I think everybody caught that.
Yeah, I did too. So, tell your thoughts on Shane O'Mac.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
It was a monumental occasion. I love that everybody went crazy when he came out. I was like, damn, what year are we in? Are we in the Attitude Era or something? Or 2001 again or something? And when I seen him came down the ring, it was like a magical moment. Like, we was like looking at either after WrestleMania Raw from the crowd, because Detroit was really live last night. Y'all noticed that at all?
Yeah, I actually noticed that myself.
Yeah. Yeah, very live last night. So, the return of Shane, I hope that he stay there long. Like, he stay there permanently. Like, something happened, like, and Shane win the WrestleMania match, but I don't know what's going to happen there. So, I want to be, like, not think that he'll win. I want something good to happen out of it. I really do hope he stay and, like, change the company around, because we need something new happen. We need some guys from the indies come in WWE so they can work at other places too, you know. That would be a cool thing, because Triple H got the Evolve guys coming to NXT and everything. So that's a great thing about that and great business. So I really want that to happen in the future of WWE, and it will be more watchable, very watchable.
Well, I'll give my thoughts. I'll give my thoughts a little later. We have a caller we're gonna bring in. Caller, you're live now Under the Mat Radio.
What's up, family? It's your boy Mill Hustles. Just call in to show some love. Listen to the Under the Mat Radio. Excuse me.
What's going on, man?
Yo, under the ground. This fucker drinks more than me.
Yeah.
What's up, Angry Mark? What's going on, y'all?
Yeah, man, it's fucking going good. I got the fucking angry cold, fucking feel like shit, having to consume twice as much alcohol just to be numb, so it's okay.
Of course, everybody, we got, Gil Hustles, who works very closely with good old buddy Vinny Vince Russo and the Brand and Jeff Lane. Shout out to y'all. Mm-hmm. Right now, currently, we're talking about Shane McMahon's rival at Raw. Let you go ahead. Give your thoughts on seeing Shane McMahon on Raw. It's been years, and thoughts of next topic: Shane against The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell, WrestleMania 32.
Well, it was cool seeing him because, the WWE Universe, as they like to call it, has been asking about him for the last, decade or so?
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely a surprise to see him. I just hope that they can keep the momentum up. But as WWE is known for, this is my opinion, they like to give out hope. Like, this is the beginning of a great stretch of television, and then all of a sudden we go back to the crap, So we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I don't think Undertaker's going to fight Shane. I mean, they have 6 weeks until the match supposedly happens. I think Shane is going to recruit someone to take his place, but with the stipulation being the same, a Hell in a Cell, and the winner controls. Well, he gets control of Raw, but it's that's all I can really say about that.
Well, I feel Shane will face Taker at Mania. They really needed something, and this had, and I mean, every Mark has said this ad nauseum off air, where WWE had to be desperate to get Shane to do something. With, like Shane mentioned on TV, with all of the talent being injured. Do you remember if Captain 4Ks wasn't injured, if Rollins wasn't hurt, if Sting wasn't hurt, if Cesaro wasn't hurt, if Orton wasn't hurt, Shane wouldn't be on TV. So I guess blessing in disguise with everybody being hurt, Shane comes in. Shane will face Taker at Mania. Which, number one, it shows if it's Hell in a Cell, it shows that that's cover up for Taker. We know Taker isn't at the best of health. Taker's, 54, looking like he's 90. Taker's very limited in the ring. So Hell in a Cell, that kind of helps Taker, a little bit for the wrestling. And it's Shane McMahon. Shane's going to do something off the cage. He's going to do something crazy. It's WrestleMania. It's Texas. This is one of the money matches. And then, like Toph mentioned, too, like we did last week, this is where I feel the streak ending actually helps. The streak is done. Since the streak is dead, there's still more sort of possibility Taker could lose. So, will Taker lose? Will Shane defy the odds and defeat Taker and become chairman, whatever, the GM or in control of Raw? Will Taker defeat Shane? And will Shane lose? And then will they do the rematch or whatever it is, Shane go against Vince at the next pay-per-view at the Mania? It's a good toss-up. You know there's going to be run-ins. It's Hell in a Cell. Vince will probably get involved. Stephanie will get involved. So it's a long stretch to kind of see what could happen there. NXT game, with your thoughts, Taker and Shane, and I'm sorry, NXT, you get your thoughts already, right, for Taker and Shane. What about you, Angry Mark? Shane Taker, Hell in a Cell.
My thoughts on it is, okay, you know Shane can't win clean on Taker. My prediction is the Hell in a Cell match, Taker is going to show a sign of respect for everything that Shane has done over the years. Shane is going to bring his A game like he always does. I see Taker rising up, letting Shane get up, okay, and exit the cell. I don't see a pinfall happening at all. I don't see any pin whatsoever occurring. I see Taker showing respect for Shane bringing it as all, and I think you will see 21-1-1.
That is a well, WWE has a history. They have to say this, I'll bring it Toph and Saltine. They have a history when they promote these big matches, and then they always have these DLC, this downloadable content, where they download a special guest raffle, a special guest performer, a special guest timekeeper, or something Steve, some special guest ring announcer. Do y'all see or feel WWE doing this wrong, where they might include Vince as special guest raffle? I don't know. Change back, bring back Linda McMahon. You know, would he bring anything? You think they'll add anything to this, or would they just leave it to Shane against Taker at Hell in a Cell? What do y'all think?
What if Shane recruits somebody to help him win, like the Wyatts or something? It could be a double turn. That's another thing that I've seen floating around the rumor boards.
Well, it is a good question, because seeing as how... Okay, and like I said, I didn't see all of Raw, so I'm going a little stretch. Brock, who's Brock facing at Mania?
Dean Ambrose.
He's facing Dean Ambrose, no who's barred.
Yeah.
So
Street
now,
fight.
that's a good question. What does that mean for the Wyatts?
Well, we already seen Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. We saw that last year at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we have.
And then we saw that Survivor Series.
Oh, by the way,
they not only beat them, they buried them. Like,
yeah. Yeah. So, like you said, Mel, it's a good question to see what actually happens. Like Angry Mark said, Shane isn't pinning Undertaker at all. He's not pinning him. It's not going to be a pinfall. Will you bring in HBK for special guest ref? Will he, come on in and be ref since he started Hell in a Cell? Will you bring in Mick Foley maybe as a little added attraction? What about Stone Cold Steve Austin? Will Stone Cold, will that be one of the things that he's going to get involved in?
Will I be able to see Stone Cold, or will I be blinded by him?
What was that, Angry Mark?
No, that wasn't Angry Mark. It was NXT Gameboy.
That was Gameboy. I'm pouring a Jack and Coke.
Yeah, I wanted to know. I honestly think that it might be John Cena, but I don't think it's going to be the 4Kids John Cena. It might go back to the old rapping John Cena.
Thugonomics.
The Thugonomics one, because he's been putting up a lot of cryptic messages on, his Instagram and everything. And not Instagram, I'm sorry, it's Twitter. And I really think that Shane McMahon might go ahead, and since he's going to probably be the heel, because I don't see The Undertaker being the heel in the WrestleMania match. So the only person he can bring out there who allegedly is so hurt but's been posting up all these videos and stuff that he's getting back in shape, he's in the gym, he's definitely getting himself together, is John Cena. But it might go back to the old Thugonomics John Cena, which didn't they already wrestle?
Cena and Taker?
I'm talking about the Thugonomics one. You know you gotta pick which version of it nowadays.
Thugonomics Cena did face off against Taker. Backlash one year. It was it wasn't Backlash. This when he fought Brock. It was Vengeance the year Taker's bike broke. He had to walk to the ring. That's on Botchamania. They fought again on SmackDown when Taker was. If y'all remember this, when Taker was heel for like 2 weeks when Heyman had control of him. If y'all remember that, when Taker was just coming back from Mania 20, him and Cena went against each other on SmackDown.
I remember that.
Can I chime in on this angle?
Yeah, go ahead. Then we have a Twitter question. Go ahead.
What if Shane sides with Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, AJ Styles, and they form a new Bullet Club?
You know what? That's great.
Yeah.
That is a great, because nobody will see that coming.
And Finn Balor too.
You know, all of a sudden, you know, during the match, Shane, you know, needs a little help. Well, here come the boys.
I guess I'm the only one that remembers the Mean Street Posse. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I will take this time to do. Can't be a cheap plug because it's our show and company. But former member of the Mean Street Posse, Pete Gas, will be coming on Under the Mat Radio in the month of March. I do want to talk to him last week, so I do want to make that announcement. But Toph, Mean Street Posse debuted the sweater vest, the Hanes turtle, the Hanes t-shirts, the Docker pants, the khakis coming back.
No, the biggest slap in the face to Vince, Stephanie, and Triple H would be for Shane to invade with NXT guys. That would be the biggest slap in the face. It would be a believable work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shane recruits the NXT talent. This would be even Samoa Joe. Bring him in. You know, a 100% Samoa Joe to a 40% tired, beaten up, Hell in a Cell Undertaker. I mean, there's so many ways they could do this with the NXT people. And that would really, that's just my thought. The whole Cena thing is done now because obviously Cena couldn't get medical clearance. He was, that's why the Shane. Huh?
Captain 4Kids is hurt. He couldn't get medical clearance, like we said, to Russell. Okay, we have want to give a shout out to JNN, big fan of the show. Follow.
Hey, what's up, Jay?
Follow. I don't know if it's a him or a she or them. Follow at JNN Jets. JNNJETS. Posed the question. He said, Under the Mat Radio, would be the ultimate markout moment if Shane hired Sting to face Taker, but highly unlikely with the Hall of Fame induction and injury. Now, they also asked this question. They said, do we feel that Undertaker will now align himself with the Authority, sort of a throwback to the old corporate ministry days? Thank you.
Well, technically in the storyline, Shane McMahon did buy WCW and did the invasion angle. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it would have looked nice if he did bring back Sting, but, of course, Sting is hurt with his neck injury and him going over to the Hall of Fame.
All I can really say is, we got 5 weeks. I think right now, just predicting, we don't have enough material. So we should just wait and see where they go. Right now, just based on what the story that they're writing, it's a contradiction because fans are cheering for Shane to win so he can take over Raw. But then fans are also cheering Triple H, which is just a contradiction within itself. So this whole angle just screams panic. You know, we couldn't get Cena. Rollins is hurt, Sting's is hurt, Orton is hurt. This whole angle just screams, we got to give Taker something. Hey, Shane, do us a favor. Like, that's what this is. Why is Shane fighting Taker? If anything, he should be fighting Triple H. Another plot hole. Why would Taker fight for Vince? That makes no sense. So it's just too soon. Like, it's too soon to really dig deep. You have to wait and see, like, what story they're going to do first.
And also, too,
I have a question.
Oh, go, Mill.
Yeah, real quick, and I want to get you and Angry Mark's opinion on this. Do you think the WWE is trying to split the universe with one side saying, you know, I hope Shane wins because maybe Raw will improve, but then again, I don't want to see another loss on The Undertaker's record?
That's a good idea. What do you think, Angry Mark and NSC? That's a good idea. I like that.
No, I don't think that at all. I think Shane was a last-minute addition. I think John Cena went to see a physician late last week to find out if there was any way to get medical clearance. They were desperate to draw in ratings, do something with Taker. They saw the opportunity with Shane. He's getting a big payday, and he might come back on board with the WWE. That might be part of this doing the match. But I don't see them trying to split up the universe. I just think it's a temporary work through SummerSlam. That's it. And then Shane is bye-bye. Shane will be gone, Vince will be gone off TV, and Triple H will be off TV.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Can we get a Linda McMahon entrance with that WrestleMania music just one more time?
What are they going to play? What's it
Remember that rap song?
It is.
I lost all the money.
Yep. Sometimes you go.
If anything, Linda McMahon should be the ultimate heel. She's the one responsible for all this stuff. The PG, everything.
Yeah, PG,
just because of her failed political campaign. If anything, she should get, like, the most heat of any person, like, in the past, like, 2 decades. It's all her fault.
Well, what is Linda? Is she an independent? Is she a she gotta be Republican or independent? At least Ralph Nader should run against her. At least he can win a campaign because he's like 0-82.
She's
Shout out to
communist.
Ralph Nader. He never wins.
Rock.
Yeah. So still burns. Shout out to Ralph Nader. So we have WrestleMania. We have Trips. The bylaws, Triple H, are going against Roman Reigns, Samoa Cena. We have Shane on Mac and Cheese versus Undertaker. And there's 2 plot holes. Since when has Undertaker allowed anyone to dictate his matches? Undertaker's never asked permission. He's never seeked the authority to do a match. Undertaker's always came, said I was facing you, the end. When they couldn't sign Sting years ago, and they did that dumb vignette, like we really think Undertaker, Triple H is going to stand outside with a trench coat in the rain, really? But yet, he decided to fight Triple H when he said nothing. That post-Mania Raw. He fought Undertaker. He fought Triple H again. The times he fought Brock, when he fought Bray Wyatt, Undertaker just said he was going to face. No authority was used. He just did it. Everybody agreed with it. But now, since Vince mentions Tick has to face him, I guess now Tick has to listen to Vince. Or, what about this, guys? Who's to say Taker won't become a heel?
Again, it's just one of those things we just have to wait and see where it goes. I see some fans are saying that Vince will most likely blackmail Taker and say, like, if you don't wrestle, I'll fire you, which really wouldn't hold much water. You know, then there's other people that are saying it'll be like, if you can't beat Shane, then you'll have to retire, which would seem really rushed if they did that. It's just, I'm in the same boat as Angry Mark. It screams rushed. Like, holy shit, we gotta do something. So, it's like what this reminds me of. This is like when you got that big exam at like 8:00 in the morning, and then you wake up hungover like at 2 a.m. and you're like, shit. Let's go ahead and cram this. That's what
I
this
know
is.
all about that.
My Angry Mark. Really?
Really? I do know all about waking up at 2 in the morning hungover.
I heard you show hickey from school back in the day, back in the 30s.
Okay. Yes, Angry Mark did sell beer out of his locker in high school. That is a true story. The dirt sheets got that one right. I got in-school suspension for 90 days. True story.
So you got more. Well,
hey, things like that are the reason they call me Mill Hustles. If it makes money, I'm going to sell it.
Dude, I was getting $5 for a beer in 1992.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I had two lockers at my school. One